known Hannah's mother for many, many years. Actually, when I had Andy, Hannah's mother was pregnant with her, and we used to go to the same church. And so they played in the nursery together, and they grew up together. And then when they got older, they kind of went their own way, but then it was just meant for them to meet up, get together. So I've always loved Hannah. Hannah's always been like a daughter to me before she was my daughter-in-law. So yeah, Hannah's very special.
So Andy and I were really, really good friends our whole life. We became best friends 2004 to the point where we were together every single day. We had all of our friends and family convinced that we were together, and we weren't. We were just hanging out. We were with each other every day, basically like we were in a relationship, but we didn't do anything. No holding hands, kissing, hugging. I mean hugging, but just to say bye, but nothing like romantic-wise. And I went on vacation, and I realized when we were on vacation that I really liked him because we had never been apart longer than a couple of days. And I realized on day 5 of our 2-week vacation with my friend Jasmine that I really liked him way more than friends. So I convinced her to say, let's go back home. She missed her boyfriend, and it worked out that we went back home. And as soon as I came back home, I think he realized also at that time frame, maybe before or after a little bit, that he really liked me too. And I convinced him if we were going to be together, he had to ask me to be his girlfriend, which I know that's crazy, but that's just how I was, and I wanted to make it completely identified that we were together.
So yeah, we met each other when we were babies. Basically, since she was born, our families have been intertwined. My mom and her mom were friends growing up. My grandparents, my dad was friends with her grandparents. So it kind of just, we were together. Went to the same church, took church vacations, some little, family get-togethers together. And then that was all the way up until, you're probably like 12 or 13. And then her family kind of did their own thing. My family did our own thing. And luckily, I have to wear glasses and contacts. So I was at the mall one day. I didn't know who this girl was walking towards me. I just knew she looked cute. A little mini skirt, white t-shirt on. And as she got closer, I was like, oh crap, that's Hannah. She was like, Andy. And we started talking. And she was like, we should get together and hang out sometime. Actually, I said that. I was like, we should get together and hang out sometime. She was like, yeah, sure, that'd be fun. I didn't think anything about it. And then fast forward like a week or so,
my mom's computer broke, and your dad is like the guru for computers and anything electronic, and so you're like, hey, I gotta call John, see if he can fix my computer. And
John's my dad.
Lo and behold, my mom had AOL, and you have to have a phone, my cell phone, on dial-up, because you couldn't do both. You couldn't be on the computer on AOL and be on the phone line, the landline.
That's how old we are.
Yeah, and so John needed my phone number, and just, so happened Andy got the phone number. And then he was like, hey, you want to go out to eat?
We met at Waffle House.
Before they tore it down?
Yep, went to Waffle House in Ooltewah. We were there for almost like 4 or 5 hours. I mean, it seemed like forever, just catching up.
We went downtown and walked around?
Yeah, went downtown, walked around for a bit. That worked out decent, so then we were like, let's go ahead and meet up again. So we met up at Crystal, next door to Waffle House, and hung out there for a bit. And then it just kind of, we didn't even plan it that way. We just started hanging out, going out to eat.
But it was like nothing, it was just friends. Like,
yeah. I mean,
totally platonic.
Yeah, it wasn't even friends with benefits. It was strictly, I didn't kiss her, touch her, nothing. Up until like 4 months.
We didn't hold hands or anything. Yeah. We just hung out as friends all the time.
Almost 4 months, we were just friends. And then my dad, he was like, how long have y'all been dating? And I was like, we're not dating. He was like, yeah, you are, son. You're going to dinner with each other, vacations, you're hanging out almost every single night together. It's like, are we really dating?
But we weren't.
No, we wasn't. So that night,
I went on vacation. That's where it started.
Yeah, so Hannah had been on vacation. She comes back home from vacation. I was like, I kind of missed her a little bit. And we started hanging out again for dinner when she got back in town. And I was like, how long do you think we're dating? She's like, no. It was almost like she was disgusted with it that we wasn't dating. And I was like,
I think I was more embarrassed that you asked, not disgusted.
yeah. So then I was like, I think we are. She's like, well, I don't think we are. And we went to Gatlinburg and was up there just walking around downtown. And that's when, I started pulling her in closer with my arm and putting my arm around her and hugging her. And I was I was feeling it out. And she didn't reject, so I was like, I think she's dating. So we got back home that night. It was right before Christmas. And I was like, I think we need to figure out what we're doing here. I've got a lot of women that want to be with me, so you need to make your place known. And she was like, well, if you want me to date you, you've got to ask me to be your girlfriend. Now keep in mind, I'm 22, she's 21. I'm like, I've got to ask you to be my girlfriend at this age. She's like, yes.
Yeah, because if you don't define the relationship, then there can be two different sides to it. You need to be on the same page.
Yeah. And that was that. So fast forward a little bit, I realized that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. It was just easy. I always said life in a relationship, life should be easy as far as the communication, the conversation, the fun factor, and all that great jazz. So I was going to ask her to marry me, and had this really big thing planned. I've heard of Gavin DeGraw, great musician, and me and him had some mutual friends together. So I was going to propose to Hannah at one of his concerts, and I was working up this gig. This was in 2004. Well, going into 2005 actually, right there towards the end of the year. It was like January. So we were going to nail this down where I was going to propose to Hannah at his concert, because that was me and Hannah's album. She loved Gavin DeGraw, and we were eating dinner, her and her mom, and I just wanted to throw it out there, and I was like, Hannah, if I were to ask you to marry me, what would you say? Like, I just want to throw it out while we're eating dinner.
I said no.
Without not even a thing about it, she just goes, no. I'm like, it wouldn't matter where we are. If there was a ton of people around, she said, absolutely. And I was like, this is terrible. The person I want to spend the rest of my life with is telling me that.
Ready.
So that's when I was like, well, I'm going to have to work extra hard for this. So fast forward, I waited like another
3 months.
3 months, and then I asked her, and she said yes. And that was fun. It was there's a movie called Serendipity that was filmed in New York. So our whole entire engagement was based off the movie. So everything they did in the movie, I planned out with us, and she didn't even catch on. It was our most favorite movie together, and she didn't catch on until I was acting out the whole entire movie, where we ate, where we went to, for dessert, for coffee, everything they did in the movie. Central Park, we did it. And then I asked her to marry me on the Jersey side of the Hudson River facing New York as the backdrop. And that was in 2005.
Yep.
We got married in 2006, and that's it. Here we are.
That's not really how it kind of goes.
There's a lot of in between. There's a lot of in between that was rough. So I'll let you speak on that a little bit.
It wasn't rough. I mean, at times it was.
It was rough.
But I mean, in hindsight, though, when you look back, it wasn't that bad.
No, I mean,
I think because we made it a game, and it wasn't like we were starving or we were homeless.
We were close.
We went times.
We were almost homeless once.
We went times where we didn't eat the best of foods, but we didn't starve.
No, we made it work. We had some cars that were repossessed. That was fun. We had nights where we were counting change to buy groceries.
We had nights when we would use the last of the money in the bank account to go buy Lady Soap formula, and then.
How about the best one when our electricity got turned off for 4 days? We didn't have enough money to turn it back on. So we were like, what are we going to do?
No, you had the reconnect fee. We couldn't pay for the reconnect fee.
We couldn't even pay the reconnect fee in the bill. So I was like, where are we going to take showers at? And luckily there was a gym nearby. So we went to the YMCA to take our showers and stuff to where we could at least get a hot shower. So, and I guess that's what I love the most is telling this story, is people just don't understand like what we went through. They see the things we do now in our life with our kids, the cars, the traveling.
It became easy.
But I think it's because we didn't during our, I guess you could call it come up or just life in general, we didn't have social media. Mm-hmm. I mean, we did, but it was different then. I mean, you're talking MySpace. You had MySpace, which you're sharing music and quotes and pictures with your friends. We had Facebook. Messenger. And we never let people know what was going on. That was the one thing about us. Even through the tough times, we never just told our friends this is a rough time. There were times we went to a few vacations with friends where that was our whole entire money to take that vacation. Like, we went to Florida with it was Lara and Chris, and I mean, you know, if you were to ask them how was the trip, they're going to tell you it was an amazing trip. They had no idea that whole entire trip, all we had was, I think it was like $780 something in our bank account, and every time we'd make a purchase, I would keep up with it to make sure that we still had enough money, just so we could make it stretch. And now I look back, I was like, man, I was playing such a dangerous game, because if we'd had a flat tire or a car would have broken down, we couldn't even afford to have the car brought home. But that was the only way we were able to enjoy life, because I had invested so much of our money and was playing the game of, I'm so dedicated to making this work that
there's no room for failure.
There was no room for failure, and there was no money left over. So when we had a situation where we had an extra $500, $800, we were like, we've not had a vacation for a whole year. Let's just go and see if we can make this work.
Or we went ahead and bought some Christmas presents and hid them. And sometimes we hid them so well, we hid them from ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Because always around Christmas, it got way worse as far as money coming in.
And it was a roller coaster. That's the thing, is like, we had, you have those people where they start out in life where it's just down here and they gradually progress. Ours was like, we got married and had more money than we knew what to do with. By the time I was 19 years old, I'd already built a substantial amount of wealth for myself. And then going into the 20s, I had lost it all just due to poor investments, trusting people that I thought I could with my money. So then they would have to make it all back. And then me and Hannah would go through the same thing, where we're way up high and then we're way down again, way up high, way down again. We go to a part where we had 6 cars in our driveway to
one, and then sharing that one, and you taking me to work, and then
to that one getting repossessed.
Yes.
And then having to borrow my buddy's truck. So I do want to say his name. His name's Zach Rad, and the life that me and Hannah have now would not be possible if it wouldn't have been for Zach. We never told our family the situations we were in. I never wanted a handout, but Zach Rad was that person that me and him had some heart-to-hearts, and I was like, man, my car just got repossessed. I've got another car I'm in the process of buying. Is there any way I can borrow your pickup truck? So he would let me drive his pickup truck, and then that turned into, you know, hey man, we're having some rough times. We could, you know, really use a place to stay. I know you've got a massive house. He had offered it to us, kind of, yeah.
It worked out.
And he was going through a divorce at the time, and he said, man, I'd love just to have y'all come stay at the house with me. It'd keep me company, and it'd benefit you, and it'd benefit me as well.
And he traveled a lot for work, so he needed someone to take care of his dogs. So it worked that we took care of the house, took care of the dogs while he was away, did all of our stuff, and lived in this ginormous bonus room.
Yeah.
We paid for one utility bill.
We tried to pay for everything, and he wouldn't let us.
He would never let us.
He paid for everything up front, and he really gave us that bump to get to that next level, because again, in his, I mean, really, I guess his wisdom, because me and him would have a lot of talks at nighttime. We worked on cars together in the garage, and there were just things that he told me about how to save money, how to grind, how even when you're tired, you're just gonna have to push through. He's like, there's times I get 3 hours to 4 hours of sleep, and I just have to make it happen. So he was a really big push in our life. So Zach, I mean, I appreciate you, man, more than you'll ever know. And me and Hannah have in the past been like, man, I want to repay you. We want to do something for you. And he's the type of person where he's like, I don't want anything. That was just, I was blessed in that part of my life, so I did it. I mean, obviously Zach was just a huge help to us. But throughout that time of all that going on, it was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, our whole life has been fun. I mean, like, even though the parts that were bad and weren't supposed to be like that way, we didn't ever
We'd laugh about it.
Yeah.
You remember Applebee's? We were so broke. We didn't have, when I say so broke, like our date night consisted of going to Applebee's, because Applebee's would do half off appetizers, like 2 hours before they closed.
At 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. So we would go.
Get there at 9:50.
Get there 9:50, sit down, order our water, wait for it to turn 10. We would get a chicken quesadilla and the boneless wings, which is crazy. She don't eat chicken anymore. And that whole meal would tip and everything outdoors like $15. So we would do date night at once to 2 times a month. So that was, you know, I think $30-$40. At one point in time, we had it down to where we could live off food-wise $100 a month.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I mean, this day and time versus that day and time of
Oh, yeah.
prices of meat and prices of vegetables, and
Wouldn't happen.
no.
Fun times. Here we are. People see me trade. They see the life that we have, the things that we do with our kids, and they too want that. I think it's important to note that anything you want in this life is possible.